Hear me out real quick. I can do something that you and most people cannot do. I can eat off the left-hand side of the menu where all the pretty pictures are, rather than on the right-hand side of the menu where the prices are. I can travel to beautiful places and make beautiful promises to my beautiful wife and actually deliver on them. And if you're tired of feeling like you're stuck like Chuck in a pickup truck, if you're tired of feeling like you're living in a home that you don't even like, in a neighborhood you feel like you don't even belong in, if you're tired of feeling like you got more month left at the end of the money than money left at the end of the month, and if you're tired of feeling like you can't travel to where you... I remember vacation for me used to be staying up late watching the same Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings movie over and over again with my mom. It was not traveling out of country and seeing beautiful places like I can go now. And if you're tired of feeling like you have to tell your children no before they even finish their question because you can't afford for whatever they're about to ask, this video is for you. I'm going to show you how I earned over $250,000 in 9 months, under a year, by making people's debt disappear. I didn't get into solar, real estate, selling medical devices, OnlyFans, selling cars, none of that stuff. What I'm about to show to you, you probably have heard before and you probably glanced right over it because it didn't sound sexy. But as Alex Hormozi says, success comes from doing the boring stuff over and over and over again. So I didn't want to sell solar and go have a bunch of people talk about me on social media for selling them something that was just a pure net loss for society. And I didn't want to sell cars and be that pushy sales dude who put people in payments that they could not afford and then them never want to do business with me again in the future. I didn't want to do real estate where I showed people 2 bad houses in a row and then showed them a pretty one to make them feel like they were making a good decision, when in all reality I was just trying to stuff my pocketbook and hit quota for my... Like, I don't want to do any of the shady stuff that's typically associated with other sales avenues. And in fact, a lot of you are going to hear how much I made or saw how much I did on the screen, and you're going to think, well, I'm not going to promise you're going to do that. In fact, you and I both know most people never do nothing, so don't expect that. You as well as I know, most people are going to go right back to doing what's comfortable right after this video, wiping the cheese crumb and the pizza crust off on their shorts, and they're going to go back to playing the video games and spending all day stupid sports games, jumping up and down like a crazy person, rooting for people who don't even know you, or you're going to stay all day on the electronic income reducer, the phone or the TV. But I want to show you what's possible because I've helped thousands of other agents in this industry, and a lot of them have gotten tremendous results, and these are not typical at all, so don't expect them. Like I said, you can expect most people to not do anything, but it just goes to show you what's possible if you pick a goal and you set your mind, you make a decision to do nothing but that. It's a recipe for success. So don't come into this expecting to just make $250,000 your first 9 months like I did, because it's probably not likely. In fact, I didn't expect that when I first got started. I just wanted to make enough to pay the bills and have a little bit left. How many people do you know that can pay all their bills on time and have money left over at the end of the month? Not many, okay? So I just wanted to pay some bills and have extra money left over at the end of the month. Because I don't know what kind of profession you're in. I was a machinist and a mechanic, and I just despised having another grown adult telling me to wake up early, come in, and do what they say for 12 hours and get treated like I didn't matter. I got tired of eating off the right-hand side of the menu where the prices are, and going out with my friends and telling them, you know what, I'm not hungry, when I was really starving. I got tired of driving rattle-trap vehicles that broke down all the time because I couldn't afford something that would get me to where I needed to go reliably and safely. I got tired of buying junk food because I couldn't afford real food. And I just got tired of it. I got tired of poverty surrounding every single decision that I made in my life. And maybe that's where you are right now in yours. And I'm not going to sit here and promise you that you're going to make millions of dollars. Most of you will probably not make a single dollar because you don't do anything anyways. We all know someone like that. Now, before I go more in depth to what this is, who is this not for? Well, this is not for felons. This is not for get-rich-quick overnight people. This is not for people with financial crimes, credit card theft, anything like that. If you have this, you just can't do it. There's licensing involved. You can't be socially anxious and expect to just come out there and crush it. Like, if you're scared to go outside and talk to people, this is going to be a terrible, Terrible, terrible thing for you. Do not do it whatsoever. If you are a vampire and all you want to do is play video games inside and be a loser for the rest of your life, this is not for you. So who is this for? This is for all my people pleasers out there. Here's a good indicator that you'll be successful in this industry is if you grew up hearing "you'd better" or else. I grew up hearing that, and it turned me into a people pleaser because I thought if I didn't do what my mom and dad told me to do, I wouldn't get their love and I wouldn't be safe. So if you're a people pleaser, this is going to be a fantastic opportunity for you. If you're someone who was like me and is endlessly curious, if every time you went to the store and you tried touching stuff and when your mom told you no, you asked, well, why can't I touch it? Why can't I if your answer to everything you were told was why, like me, every time my mom told me I couldn't have something or I couldn't do something, well, why? Because I said, well, that's a stupid reason. So if you're endlessly curious and you always like to ask why, this is a perfect opportunity for you. Why? Because you're endlessly curious and you'll naturally want to find people's problems. Like I said, we are in the business of making people's debt disappear. This is all about insurance. So why did I pick insurance as a vehicle for wealth building? Well, everyone has to have it. Like you can't drive a car without insurance. You can't get a house without homeowners insurance. Like people are forced to have it by law. So you're offering something to people that they have to have. Or life insurance, everyone is going to die. So I chose life insurance, and I'm about to break down exactly how I did this. That way, if you want to, you can repeat it. Who else is this for? If you want to work from home, if you want to make a difference and an impact in other people's lives, if you want to make people's problems disappear for their family on some of the hard, like if you really want to be a value to your society, this is going to be for you. If you're one of those people who don't care what others think of you, this is a perfect opportunity for you. So like I said, I chose selling insurance for my wealth building vehicle. And why? Because it made the most sense to me, and I'll explain why it's better than anything else out there beyond a shadow of a doubt. So let's get into the training. First off, here is what you do as an insurance agent, and pay very close attention. So up here is your client advocate. Here's what you're going to be doing every day. You're going to be finding people just like this. We'll just call him Peter Parker and Mary Jane. Okay, we got Spider-Man and Mary Jane, and they got together and they have 2 children, and they're a beautiful family. But Mary Jane and Peter Parker and their children, just like you and I, have 3 really big problems that haunt every single human, and it's called the 3 Ds. Now, what are the 3 Ds? Get out of the gutter. It's death, disease, and disability. Okay, these 3 problems haunt every single human on earth, because what is a human's most valuable asset? It is the ability to earn an income. Okay, and so all 3 of these D's get in the way of that. And what happens is every human is one of 2 types of people. They're either an asset or a liability. Okay? They're either an asset or a liability. And when you lose your ability to earn an income, you are not an asset anymore. You are a liability to your family. If you have the ability to provide an income, to provide provisions for your family, you are an asset. If you have things that pay them and not cost them, you are an asset. But most people, when they die, leave a huge liability behind. So what does that mean? Anytime that death, disease, or disability gets in, what are the first things that happen? People get kicked out of their house, they foreclose, they get their truck or their vehicle repossessed because they can't afford to make the payments. And the banks don't care about you and I. We're peasants, we're muggles to them, okay? And Uncle Sam doesn't care about us either. They don't want you knowing this type of stuff, because when you understand this stuff, you build a moat around your family to where poverty cannot get close to your doorstep. Uncle Sam cannot get close to your doorstep. The banks cannot come get close to your doorstep and take everything away from your family when something happens to Peter Parker or something happens to the Mary Jane of the family, or even the kids. And I don't think any parent should have to bury their child. It's not the natural order of things, but that's besides the point. So what happens is the 3 Ds get in the way, and people have problems affording this, or one of them dies and they have to go in a casket. And so what happens is they either leave an asset or a liability behind. So that's what we do as insurance agents. We go to Peter Parker and Mary Jane and say, hey, you're just like me. death, disease, and disability, the 3 Ds get in your way. And when you die, these are going to leave a huge, 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 huge financial burden behind on your family. And unfortunately, for you, the man who always promised to protect and provide, your promise is going to be broken when one of the 3 Ds get in your way. I just want to make sure that when you die, when you get a disease, or when you get disabled, that your promise stays unbroken, that anything that happens to you, your promise doesn't get broken to your beautiful family. Or when the marriage, what was the promise that every single mother makes to her family, to always look out for them and protect them and love them unconditionally? Well, death, disease, and disability gets in the way with that. And on the hardest day of your children's life, when they lose a parent and you hear them crying out for help and you're in heaven looking down, the only thing you want to do is reach down and console them, but you can't do that because of these 3 nasty little things that get in the way. And that's just life. So what if there was something you could do to prevent that from ever happening? Well, that's why I became an insurance agent, because I'm okay with disregarding what other people think of me simply because of career. If you're someone who cares about what other people think of you simply because you chose to pursue a career path to put food on the table for your family, just like Peter Parker did or Mary Jane did, like, we all get jobs. We're all very similar people. We all do things to protect the people we love, to provide for the people we love. So just because someone becomes an insurance agent doesn't make them inherently evil. So when you die, you're either an asset or a liability. I help make sure that people, when they deal with the 3 Ds, they leave an asset behind rather than a liability, that where their promise and their unconditional love is not broken. So if you're okay with having those conversations, you may have a chance of doing what I did, which was doing $364,855 in sales in 9 months and being the #1 agent at that company I started with. And so let me show you what you do. As a new insurance agent, what you do is you go take an insurance test that takes, I got licensed in 4 days here recently. When I moved from Kentucky to Texas, I somehow messed something up with my license, so I had to retake it. It took me 4 days. I paid $100. Normally the course is like $350. I paid $100 for a licensing course, which I can just give to you, that discount code. And I went and took that. I studied for 1 day and I went and passed the test in 4 days. Now, after I got licensed, what we do is we go talk to 10 people a week. If you can talk to 10 people a week, you have a chance to do some incredible things. And I'm just going to show you the math of what you can expect based on worst case scenarios, averages, okay? You go talk to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people a week. And what are these? These are people. You talk to 10 people a week, and what happens is 5 of them do not want what you're offering. These people like fish and you're offering chicken. So it's just no matter what you do, you're never going to convince them otherwise. And I don't want to convince anybody to do anything, okay? If I'm selling fish, all I want to do is find people who are hungry for fish and offer it to them, okay? I'm not worried about the people who want chicken. We're only worried about the people who want fish, aka the insurance, who want to leave an asset behind rather than a liability, who want to make sure their promise never gets broken rather than have their promise broken from the 3 Ds or unconditional love broken from the 3 Ds. Those are bad parents, okay? They are, we look down on them. They are the losers. They are the people who do GoFundMes rather than taking responsibility. What is responsibility? It's responding with ability, okay? Don't do everything you can to leave your family where you want them to be rather than where you are. You are an irresponsible parent. Let's just be real. Let's stop sugarcoating stuff in this society. So we go talk to 10 people every single week. Now, what does that mean? 5 of them buy a policy. 5 people buy a policy every single week. So that's 20 sales, okay? 20 people to get a policy and protect themselves and their family from the 3 Ds. I call these family protection plans the way that I do it. Now, what happens is if we're talking to 40 people a week, and on average the conversation takes 30 minutes, what is 40 times 30? 1,200 divided by 60. What was that? Are we at 20? So we just worked 20 hours that entire month. If you can work 20 hours, you're going to be able to make what I'm about to show you in just a moment. So keep watching. Now what happens is, like I said, 20 people buy a policy. On average, you're going to make about $500 per policy sale on the life insurance side at least. What happens is you sell 40 people, you sell 20 people a $500 thing, or it's a $1,000 policy, you're going to roughly make $500 per person you sell. That's 10 grand a month from 20 sales, okay? If you're okay with making 10 grand a month, I'm gonna show you what happens. So now you take 10 grand divided by 40. Now what is that? That's 250. Here's the problem with most people. They think, well, what about all the people that didn't buy? Here's the thing. For every person you talk to, whether they buy or not, you make 250 bucks. If you can make 250 bucks per person you talk to today, how many people would you go talk to? You're like, Mason, as many as I can. Duh. 10,000 divided by 40, it's 250. No, we don't need calculators for this stuff, okay? You're making $250 per person that you talk to. Is that worth it? So what's cool about this is if we're only working 20 hours a month and we're getting paid $500 per 30-minute conversation we have that sells a policy, if you have 2 conversations and you sell 2 policies, that's $1,000 an hour. You're making more than like doctors don't even make $1,000 an hour. But on average, you're just making $500 an hour whether you sell anything or not. That's on average based on 20 working hours a month. Now the cool thing is, after we do our 10,000 divided by 40, that's $250 per person we talk to, whether they buy a policy or not. And like I said, who are the people we're talking to? Anyone that leaves debt behind when they die. Now, based on selling 20 policies a month times 12 months in a year, 20 times 12 equals 240, check my math. And if we're making $500 per sale, that's 240 sales multiplied by $500, that is $120,000 that you would earn from that. Now, here's the cool part. In insurance sales, we get residuals if people don't cancel their policies. So out of this 240, we have to take that, and after people keep their policy for so long, we're going to get an additional, on average, $250 per person after they keep their policy for a year. So we get back, we make one sale, but we get paid twice. Now that's cool. So what happens is 240 times 250 equals an additional 60K. So that's 120 plus 60 grand, that's $180,000 in a single year from sales. So this is why I chose to sell insurance from the comfort of my home, where I can just wear sweatpants and do whatever I want for the day, work 20 hours a month, and earn a very nice income to where I can pretty much do what I want without having to worry about things. I don't have to wake up early and get stuck in traffic on the way to work and have someone cut me off and just ruin my day. I can just go talk to 10 people a week and spend 5 hours on average talking to them. That's 20 working hours a month and earn a 6-figure income. That's why I chose this over real estate, anything like this. So if you're someone who's endlessly curious, or you think you can ask people questions, or if you're someone who wants to help people get rid of their debt when they die and help make sure people are assets rather than liabilities, and help make sure people's promises and unconditional love isn't broken when they die, and you don't have to look at their family asking for money on a GoFundMe. I wish GoFundMe did not exist. I wish parents were just responsible enough to do the right thing and get some dang life insurance. So if you're someone who wants to do that and you want to know what the next steps are, I've put together a completely free program for you to where you can learn how to get licensed and get started going and talking to families to get rid of the 3Ds, help them out with a family protection plan or a life insurance policy, talk to 10 of them a week, and here's what the math's out to. I wanted you to see I wasn't doing anything like this is what's possible. This is just worst case scenario. For every 10 people you talk to, half of them won't do it, half of them will. And if you're willing to bet on yourself and do this, you can do it from the comfort of your own home. I can guarantee you placement with an agency. I can tell you exactly what to say in these conversations with these people to make them feel like buying a policy from you. If you want to do that, go fill out your information on here, click take the next step, and I will see you over there. All you have to do is go get licensed, and now you can start having conversations, all from a 40-hour licensing course. I've seen people knock this out in a couple days. I did it in 4. So go fill out your information, and I'll see you over there.